a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Deus Ex Media.
Hello and welcome to Content and Capable, a podcast all about following your passions while still feeling like a proper adult. My name's Sam and I'm your host. This week I spoke with Michael, Dalton and Andrew from Dungeon Radio Hour, all about their experience with D&D and how that's informed their adult lives. Welcome to Content and Capable, Michael, Andrew and Dalton. It's lovely to have you on.
It's lovely to be
It's
here.
lovely.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
What time is it there right now, Sam?
It is 8:30 in the morning. I will try my best not to yawn. I have been awake for a few hours. I've eaten breakfast, gotten myself ready for the day.
Good for you.
But I have been known to yawn. Now I'm thinking about it, and
We're all gonna yawn.
How about this? One group yawn, and then we get it out of our system, and
all
we'll
yawn.
leave it in the oven.
Yeah, we'll all
1,
yawn
2,
together.
3.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh,
relaxing. You got to get it out of the system.
So, do you guys want to just quickly introduce where you guys are from and how you guys all know each other and why you're here on my Zoom call? I'm suddenly very scared.
I don't know who these guys are. Actually, I've never met
Yeah,
these.
stranger
people.
weird.
Yeah, who are you? Stranger danger.
I guess I started talking first, so I'll just keep talking. I'm Andrew, Andrew Gerline. I met Dalton and Mike and Alyssa, who is not here. Alyssa is our fourth member of the pod. She has prior engagements right now, something much more pressing, which sounds very mysterious.
You could
and
just say she's at
ominous.
work.
Yeah,
She's
you
at
just say
work.
she's at work.
She has
sounds
something very
nefarious.
important. She's an important lady.
You touched
She's
both of
not
your
here.
temples with your fingers.
I
and
did,
just
I
prior
did, I
enga- like you're a villain in a movie.
I
She's
really
not hiding
get
a
you
body. She's out of work. She works for a travel agency, okay?
Okay, I work with both of
origin
these
story.
pieces of shit.
That's a great cover for being like a James Bond kind of
Oh,
spy.
exactly.
We met in college. We were all originally from Missouri, which is in the middle. Not everyone. A lot of Americans don't know where Missouri is.
This is
When
very true.
When I lived in Los Angeles, I had so many people just not know where St. Louis was, not know where Missouri. So I say that for the Australian listeners.
I always appreciate Americans understanding that we don't always know the geography.
Yeah.
But then I spent the whole of so I was recently in the US, spent the whole of the trip people telling me, oh, you know American geography better than most Americans do. I'm like, I'm sorry, I fuck up the Midwest more than most people do.
The Midwest is already fucked up anyway.
It's tough.
So.
Yeah, it's
You say Missouri, and then people will be like, oh, Mike, he's from Iowa. Like, it's just an entirely different state.
they just
Minnesota,
pick a state that they think is
Kansas.
in the Midwest. Yeah.
Yeah, it's close enough. I let it go.
The Midwest is just Iowa, and we all know that everyone hates Iowa, so
It's true.
everyone just hates the Midwest.
Corn, I'm not a fan of it. What else do they have, guys?
That's
Name
it.
a few other things.
Well, Iowa,
No,
I think
alright,
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's it.
But yeah,
And
we all met in
list.
college. Just to get back on track, because we will be sidelining quite a bit, I'm sure, throughout the podcast. That's what we do.
Kind of our
We
whole
met in
thing.
college. We were all theater majors or musical theater majors. Some of us were in acting, directing programs.
Amazing. And so, I'm gonna pull up the revised name real quick, because
Because we did change it. Spoiler
We
alert.
did just
Watching-
change our name. Yeah.
watching you guys rebrand and then implementing the Deus Ex Media rebrand at the same time was movements that really should not have happened in my brain at once.
Here we are.
Yeah, the straight man struggles with focusing on more than one thing at once. So why did you guys decide to get together and do Dungeon Radio Hour?
So we, as a group, have been playing D&D together for, a little over 5 years, I would say. It all started when we were all living together in Los Angeles at the time. We all decided to, hey, let's play D&D. Some of us had played before. Some of us had never touched the game ever. And we all sat around the coffee table in my old apartment in LA, and we played a game. We all immediately fell in love with it. And then over the course of the years, people moved away. Andrew's, in Missouri now. Mike and Alyssa are still in California. I'm in North Carolina. And we still try to get together and play as much as possible, whether it's over Zoom or through a messaging or a Discord, anything like that. And then one day I messaged Alyssa and I was like, hey, why don't we do a D&D podcast? I mean, we basically meet pretty regularly enough as it is. Why don't we just start recording it? Because I don't know, I think we're funny. Other people might not think we're funny, but I think we're funny. And we all sat down. We got Mike involved. We got Andrew involved. And we threw some recordings down. And that's where it came from. DRH was born.
Tracks down. Yeah. It's always fascinating, the kind of way that a lot of people end up stumbling into, like, podcasting. It's like, we thought this was a good idea, we did it, and now it's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Right.
Basically, I mean, for us, I think just not having anything creative to do, especially over the pandemic, it was an outlet, It's just something that anybody can do from their computer, and that's been really handy. And a way to connect, because just like texting or talking over social media with your friends, it just doesn't feel like enough when you're so far away. You need some sort of face-to-face interaction to supplement that and remain close.
There's always this saying, at least when I was in, like, the whole, I just want things to be over, and, like, going, I'm not going to be really friends with a lot of these people once I'm done my degree. But it's like, no, there will be, like, a few people that, like, I will still hang out with for, like, forever. Yeah. And be probably mildly annoying to them at all times.
That's the best part of a friendship, right there.
In my defense, I have tried to ignore these people every day.
We're just so charming.
They won't leave me alone.
It's really true. Dalton has no emotion. He's like a big gay robot. And I love him to death, but he gives you nothing in return for your friendship, which makes me just crave it more, like an absent father.
Sounds like a lot to unpack there, Mike.
Listen, don't dig too hard in any statement that I say. I'm just slightly revealing traumas throughout this entire thing.
It is very fascinating, though, because, like, it's interesting to see what friendships do stick and what don't outside of, like, an education context. I heard a very interesting analogy many years ago about, like, the basis of most relationships. It's like a chair. The minimum amount of legs that a chair can really have for it to be relatively functional is 3 legs. Yourself, the other person, and something else that, holds you two together. And the more legs you have, the more stable it is. So, if the only, like, common denominator is that, you both go to school, and it's like, well, we've got nothing outside of that we talk about. Obviously, once school finishes, that relationship isn't going to continue. But, having, like, things like D&D or, creating stuff together or, like, a shared love of music or something else like that, I even, like, in my own life, I found have made friendships stick around much longer. The 2 people I'm still friends with outside of high school are because of that. And, the friends that have stuck through university as well. Because I'm that idiot who decided that I don't want to do my degree like a normal person.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's everybody. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You get into something starry-eyed at 18 years old, and you quickly realize that you're not going to be doing that for the rest of your life. I mean, luckily for us on the friendship side, I feel like we have a lot of overlapping interests just because we luckily found most of our friend group in a program where we all had a passion for the same thing, performance.
Yeah.
And then we're all big nerds, so we have a lot of overlapping interests, like, for example, X-Men or Marvel properties. Pokemon is a big thing. If you look at anything in the room that Dalton's in, that's very clear. He went pretty hardcore on that. He went balls to the wall on Pokemon decor in that room. But yeah, I mean, we have a lot of common interests, so I feel like that's why we're so tight. We have all of these memories together, and at the same time, we have everything to talk about, We've just been friends for so long.
Yeah, and, I don't know what your individual experience was, but like beyond that university setting and that structured, I'm going to see you regularly kind of thing, you know, then it's the effort of like maintaining, like, I want to maintain this relationship. And so like putting effort into like, you know, making sure you're regularly speaking to like people and chatting and, you know, keeping those lines of communication open, because let me just say, texting people that you have not messaged in like 3 years is way more awkward than
It's
normal.
hard.
For sure. Yeah.
It's really
100%.
hard. I've had to learn to get over that because I was always the person that was like, oh man, this person probably doesn't even want to talk to me. But, you know,
We
as
don't.
soon as you do...
And we don't.
Okay, listen, sir. I understand where you side.
Yeah.
No,
We really only talk to you because of your wife. Like, it's a
I
package
know.
deal. at
I
that
also
point.
feel bad. it's like a tax write-off for me.
Really?
It's
How does that work?
complicated. We don't need to get into it.
It's charity.
It's a form of charity.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
once you do reach out to that person that you haven't talked to in a while, I mean, usually they're just excited to hear from you, right?
Usually, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know. I found out like, only a couple months ago that like someone that like we ended up doing the same degree and we're in the same classes and we spoke quite regularly. Then all of a sudden she disappeared off the face of the earth. I'm like, I really like this person as a friend. Where did they go? Like, what happened?
Yeah.
Anyway, found out a few months ago. That person had like a falling out with like the rest of her friends and was like moved on from everyone. And I'm like, oh wow, like this is kind of sad, you know. But then at the same time, I'm like, weird. Like, there's got to be something else that's going on.
Did
here.
you
Like,
want
I'd
a
love to-
person as a friend who all of their other friends dropped them? There's a common
Oh,
denominator.
she dropped
there.
all the rest of the friends.
she dropped
it
it.
was-
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
She just
It was-
clean
it was
slated
a-
it.
Yeah, it was like a weird. I believe it was a religion thing, but I'm not quite sure. Because,
usually
like,
is, right?
Also, people notoriously don't trust me with secrets. I think part of it is that I'm a journalist, and part of it is everyone assumes I'm a snitch. And how rude! Anyone who's ever assumed I'm a snitch, you need to reconsider, because the amount of bullshit that I deal with is way more than people give credit for.
Don't you call me
Oh
a
my
snitch?
gosh.
If you call me a snitch, I'm gonna tell on you so hard.
Like, I did have my snitch era, like, definitely did. But, like, just because I'm friends with the teachers doesn't mean that I'm here to, like, rat you out for whatever you do wrong.
Right.
Right.
It's hard to shake off those those reputations once you develop them. But at the same time, you're a
Yeah.
journalist, so people have to like go into conversations with you, like, "Hey, off the record, this is what I did this weekend."
That's all it takes.
How,
You just
how
say the
often
word
do
off.
those conversations start with off the record? Should we have started this podcast with off the record? Is it too late to say off the record?
You can't say it in the middle, Dalton.
Off the record all the time. No, it is fascinating. Especially when I first started, because my father works in the military. It was like, I can't tell you these things. And then, you know, it's been 3 years, and he's back at university for the first time in 20 years. And I'm editing his assignment. So I'm like reading these. I'm like, oh, wait, this is like a really interesting like analysis of like, oh, wait, I forgot that, you know, our military works like this. And this is what the military thinks as opposed to the politicians. And, you know, but like, it doesn't like, I think I've gotten a really good, like, I've built up enough trust, especially among my family. My family are very skeptical people. Like, they turn around and go, I think you trust me enough to like be able to tell me something and know that it's in confidence, unless I'm like looking to, you know, then I'll ask. Like, I'm not gonna take it away from you without consent.
Right, of course.
Everybody tell Sam a secret right now, except for me. Go.
Okay. Dalton will, of course, start being the most open of the group.
I am an open book. Before I say the secret, it's off the record.
Oh.
But my secret is that I actually do care about Mike and Andrew and Alyssa, even though I would never publicly say that. So
Oh my god.
that's my secret.
Son of a bitch.
Oh my god.
I've
We
been
haven't
waiting
heard
to hear
that in
that
so
for-
long.
Yeah,
Ever.
that'll have to be cut from the edit. So just saying.
For legal
Yeah,
reasons.
I'll cut it.
It didn't sound genuine, but I appreciated it still.
Just bleep it out.
It's like crack cocaine. Michael and Andrew are sorted for the next like 3 years. Dalton doesn't
Yeah, we're
really
good.
care about it anymore.
I was going through. I was fiending for some more.
It's like a leap year. Every 4 years you get an I love you out of Dalton. It's like a warm hug.
Well, I never used the words "I love you." I think you're stretching it there a little bit.
It's
changed
implied.
it in my
I think
mind.
it's implied.
I changed it in my mind.
It's heavily implied, and we know the truth.
Yeah, 100%. It's so interesting how uniting Dungeons and Dragons is, as well as like a game, and it is so fascinating how close it does bring people and otherwise disparate communities together.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things that I, have a chat with, friends, and they talk about their D&D experience. I've never played D&D, mainly because I don't know whether I want to descend into that level of nerdiness yet. Like, I still pretend I'm cool.
What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say?
Wow.
Well, we
Hard
already know
shots
we're
out
not
the
cool.
gate
Yeah.
from Sam. No, we haven't. We have no. We don't think we're cool at all. So we have no delusions that we're cool coming out of this.
It is fascinating because, like, I don't know. It must be just a very high school thing of like, and because I'm only 20, there's like, here's all my life experience, and it's just high school, the mess that is high school, the mental breakdowns and everything else that happened in that period of 6 years of torture. But, it is very fascinating to see, especially among my more nerdy friends, how much more into D&D they are now than they were, back in high school. Like, it's now that we've got more time on our hands. The way that university works here is that you might be in class for, a day or two a week, and that's about it. You've got the rest of your time to usually earn money. But, like, and so it is very fascinating to be sitting there going, oh, there is all of this that needs to be done as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, and with all that free time, you have to fill it with something. For us, I mean,
Yeah.
D&D, I feel like it's kind of there's been a resurgence for everyone. We have these examples in pop culture. I don't think you can chalk it up completely to Stranger Things or Rick and Morty or what have you. There are all these crossovers and podcasts.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that's great about it is now that it is a little bit more in the zeitgeist, once people just give in and experience it a little bit, it's just fun. It's just playing pretend like you did when you were a kid. And you don't want to let that part of you die when you get older. That's part of the spark of joy that's in people's lives. It's just playing pretend with their friends.
And I think
100%.
Our particular angle, I think we come at it from a actor-comedian place. Like we're essentially doing an improv comedy show that instead of on stage, we are virtually together playing a game of D&D. So it's a comedy show first. And I think our main goal with each other is just to make each other laugh.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we have that friendship,
100%.
we know each other so much. We can.
Yeah.
Well, I think because of that friendship, we trust each other so much more. Like we know each other's comedic styles. We know each other's timings. We know that we don't have to worry about one of us hitting the punchline or picking up the joke, or it's natural. And I do think that goes back to the fact that we've known each other for so long and we've performed together for so long.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. That and the successive bits that, like, I'm like, is this going to end? No, it's not. Oh, wait, it's ended. We've moved on. Wow, I'm so sorry for the DM for the shenanigans that they've just been put through for the last 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
That's why our podcast has a safe word.
It's true.
It does. We have a safe word for if a bit goes on too long, and they tend to.
Yeah.
One of us.
I've never used the safe word.
Anyone can say.
I'm the one who always uses the safe word.
Yeah, Dalton, why don't you tell
What
us
is it,
that safe
avocado
word
or
is?
something? I've never used it.
No, so the safe word is Nickelback.
That's right.
Because we needed something that would never naturally come up in conversation. And I felt like that's the one thing that we would never voluntarily bring up or talk about.
It is fascinating, though, because you go from D&D playing at home and entertaining each other through to entertaining other people in a podcast format. And the thing is, then you've got to make the bits shorter and you've got to keep the pace, up and keep that pacing
100%
to it. Something that a viewer will, really enjoy. And it is one of those really important things. And it's not even just a conversation that I think D&D podcasts have, but even, I've had the conversation when I've reviewed my own podcast. But like even, looking at other things like the restricted section, and you listen to early episodes of that with Christina, and it is completely rambly, and like it goes on, and like some episodes get close to 2 hours.
Oh, Jesus.
And then you have listened to like these episodes, these most recent episodes, and yes, the episodes might still, be just over an hour, but they cover way more content, and there's way more nuance to the conversation, as well as, it's just like, because it moves faster, there's more content you can cover within an appropriate amount of time for a podcast, because 2 hours is getting on mildly unreasonable.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for us, we do edit in post. Like we edit, and I think that's a good thing for any podcaster to do. I mean, I understand the free-flowing format of the people who go 2 or 3 hours. They're like, stream of consciousness, let's do this, let's put it all out there.
Yeah.
People like the thing that's real about podcasts.
It's like a conversation you're listening to.
For me, I don't subscribe to that. I'm like, some of this shit can be cut. There's a lot of stuff.
We're treating it more like a show. And that comes back to our rebrand, because for those who don't know, we were originally Tales from the Crit Keeper, which is just a fun play on words that Alyssa came up with. It's great, but we wanted to pick a name that more showcased the fact that this is like those old-timey radio plays that has all the sound effects and the actors doing the voices, telling a story. People would gather up by the radio and just listen to it. So we wanted to kind of bring that energy into it. Like you're listening to a performance more than anything.
Yeah, 100%.
It just happens to be in a D&D setting. So you don't need to appreciate D&D to really enjoy it.
Right. We underscore it with music, sound effects, like Andrew said.
Yeah.
There's production value that goes into it, and I think that that shows that the artist cares when you just put a little bit more into it and actually edit it down to just the good bits.
Yeah, and I think
it is fascinating. Like we've had a whole bunch of formats, things like podcasts and YouTube and video, really become way more accessible. But like the difference between something that is like, oh wow, this is nice, to oh wow, this is good, is like the amount of care and effort that you do put in, regardless of how the technology has evolved.
Right.
And I think what helps too is this is a passion project for all four of us, and something that creatively we are so in love with, and we want it to succeed, and we want to put as much work and effort into it as possible for it to go the distance that we want it to.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
I think that's the thing. Like, if you start a project as a creative, you put your heart into something. Well, it's what Guillermo del Toro said. You can't fuck without a boner, right? You have to have that passion. What he meant metaphorically is you have to be excited about the thing that you need to work on. But also, in a much more literal sense, you can't actually fuck with a boner. And I've tried with my wife several times.
You can't fuck with a boner?
Nickelback,
you can't
Mike.
Fuck with
Nickelback.
No,
I can't fuck with a boner or without a boner. It's just like
that's what I thought.
You push like a moist
tune in
breadstick
for
into a
episode
doorknob.
8 where Mike's character dies suddenly.
So the rebrand, I know you guys have talked about it. You talked about it on your episode, that announcing the rebrand. Where was like the aha moment of like, we need to probably change our name at this point in time?
Dalton?
I feel like, Mike, you introduced
Mike, you're the one who introduced it.
All right, fine, I'll pick it up.
We were resistant at first.
I know, you guys really didn't want to do it.
I
brought it up because, like, this is the thing. You hear Tales from the Crit Keeper. It doesn't exactly say what this show's from. It doesn't imply D&D. It doesn't imply comedy. We kind of shoehorned in a D&D pun into, an existing property, which Warner Brothers owns. And, if this podcast is successful, there's no reason to have legal blowback. We could have come up with a better name, so...
We have so much issues with Warner Brothers as an organization. Just Warner Media in general. Can just the copyright lawyers calm their farms for like a hot second, please? You own Harry Potter. I don't know who owns Lord of the Rings, but I have a sneaking suspicion it is still Warner Media. You know, you own all of this content, and you know, you chase out copyrights like they're like token prizes.
Yeah. We combed through a lot of the lawsuits. They were frivolous. Like they're actually going hard on people that really don't have a platform.
For nothing.
Right.
Like, why? Do you have nothing better to do? Like, that's the question.
Well, yeah, I don't know. There's an interesting conversation happening on TikTok at the moment about the Bridgerton musical, which is a fan-made musical, and the money that's made and the problems with, you know, the fact that this work wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the book that was written and then the TV series that was produced. Right. And so, therefore, you know, maybe you should be paying some royalties here.
Right.
For sure.
It's very fascinating. Yeah.
I looked into that
and it's very hard.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you have to negotiate. Like, we consume so much media nowadays that it is hard to avoid, you know, mentioning things that are owned by, you know, mega corporations. And it is very hard to sit there and go, I can exist in this world without being maybe chased by a copyright lawyer down the street.
Yeah. I know. It's true. So complicated. But I feel like, you know, we do mention pop culture stuff in the podcast. A casual mention for the sake of the joke, I think, is fine. Yeah. But we definitely wanted to avoid making our title 2 letters different in something that was a huge property in the 90s. Yeah. It was a bad mistake from the jump.
When it came to searching for the podcast, everything, no matter what you spelled or how you spelled it, was coming up with Crypt Keeper instead of Crit Keeper. And we wanted to avoid that as much as possible so that we could be that first search that pulls up once you type it into the search bar. And we went through 300 plus names before we decided on.
There was a lot that were hot garbage, but there was
a lot of them were
solid
jokes.
Handful of good ones.
You know what I really suggest, if anyone does have to rebrand, make like a really large batch of margaritas, end up with your shirt off and writing on sticky notes that you're sticking to a wall, and then wake up the next morning hungover and sort through the bad ideas, realize they're all bad, go and sit in a river and have a brainwave there.
I love it.
Is this from personal experience, Sam?
Exactly.
It's very specific. It got very specific.
Yeah, for those who may have missed the rebrand, it was when we sat down to record, Christina wrote this lovely script, and the only piece of improv was Zach from My Cabbages, who had to explain the whole rebrand process. And by chance, I was in the US, someone had said the word rebrand, and everyone was like, wow, we've been waiting for someone to say this for forever. And so... we did. We got drunk off margaritas. People ended up shirtless. Lots of sticky notes were added to a wall. I'm surprised we didn't end up drawing on Christina's poor walls. And then we realized all the ideas were bad and went and sat in the river for like a couple of hours the next morning. And that's where Deus Ex Media came from.
Wow. I mean, you ended up on a good note. Deus Ex Media is pretty good.
It is. It's pretty good. Just so many iterations. Rebrands are so hard when you are like, you know, stuck with a name, or like you might be hesitant, you know, is this going to be worth the effort we're putting into, you know, this? Right. And it is like, oh, you know, especially, you know, you guys as a relatively new podcast, like very, it's very hard to go, well, should we rebrand now or should we like wait till later? And, you know, obviously the weighing up of the pros and cons of that.
Oh, yeah.
I think that might have been the easiest decision on the timing of when to do it. It's like, do we do it this early or do we wait down the road? Right. And I think all of us were in agreement that if we're going to rebrand, we are doing it right now.
Right.
Yeah. We're going to rip the Band-Aid off and we're going to just clean slate everything.
And next month, we're going to rebrand again. It's going to be even better.
It'll be fun.
We're going to do this every month.
We're going to rebrand every month from now on until we whittle down to just a handful of really loyal followers.
Just whittle down. Like, are you a fake follower?
Yeah.
You're gonna be a fake supporter. You're gonna be a sycophant to follow us. We're so hard to find after 7 rebrands.
How many rebrands have you been with us through?
It's like seasons or years. It's like
no, but
how many rebrands?
Alyssa went through and sort of I don't know the technical side of things. She re-uploaded the episodes with the actual new name and the new artwork and the new intro, and it's like, Tales from the Crypt Keeper? Never heard of it. We're gonna just
Doesn't even exist
it
anymore.
doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
It's gone.
Yeah.
We wiped it clean, and now we're putting it back on the internet with this conversation
That's true.
that's gone way too long.
I do have to say, after publishing 40 plus episodes, heading on to what will be 60 at the end of the year, I cannot imagine replacing every single episode with a Deus Ex Media sting.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that would be rough.
I know that there are maybe one or two members of the network who have gone, yeah, my long-term plan is to replace all of the audio with the new stings and new branding, and I'm sitting here going, please no. Please don't ever make anyone do
Don't
it.
ask me to
That
do
sounds
that.
terrible.
No.
But obviously, there is it depends on the way that the brand works and things like that. There's so many, from a media perspective as well, it is so fascinating to watch, rebrands be executed and the different approaches people take, because it is such an individual thing as well. The way you guys announced it and the way that we were we desperately tried to keep it a secret for as long as possible, while at telling as many people as we possibly could, so we didn't tell the people that actually mattered. Was the greatest thing, and we would sit there and catch each other out, almost exposing each other. Somehow the domain name had already been swapped well before we even got the artwork for the rebrand.
No.
Yeah.
So there was one or two keen-eyed people who kind of realized that something was up, and we're you know what? We're gonna let you guess and see what happens.
We had a similar
and then-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the name's changed, and what's going to happen here, and, obviously everything else that ends up happening as well. Awesome. And so, obviously you're quite well into the campaign currently. How has this campaign felt different or similar from previous campaigns you guys have done as a group?
We have a history of not staying on task. We used to play 12, 14-hour sessions on a single Saturday, just go all day.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And we wouldn't finish them. Now that we are on sort of a more time crunch with staying in that hour window-ish per episode, it keeps us on task, but we're also focusing more on the jokes for the audience, whereas before we didn't have an audience. But at the same time, I feel like we're just doing what we always did, which is make each other laugh. And by extension, it just happens to make the audience laugh.
It was pretty nonstop between us when it was just us in a room trying to make each other laugh. It was it's like Robin Williams on coke in the 80s, just constantly to nobody, insane. But it's always been a good time. When it was a 12-hour session, it was a good time. When it's an hour session, it's a good time.
One thing.
It's also
Go ahead.
One thing that I've learned as a DM that I have changed style-wise for this podcast or for this group specifically is giving them an outline before we start the session and be I need you to hit plot point A, B, C, and D by the time we're done. Whatever you do in the middle, I don't give a fuck. As long as you hit these points, we're good. And,
horse legs and all, let's just keep going.
Yeah, and I think that helps us keep on track and make sure that the story still flows from session to session.
Yeah, and he doesn't spoil any story things for us, so we are genuinely surprised by things.
We don't know what's behind the curtain at all.
Right.
Dalton just lets us know these little bits and pieces so we can do things
go to the church
that are more productive
and find a character named this.
Yeah.
Anything else is fair game.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've had episodes in the past where we just walk into a cave and talk to a wolf, and that's the only thing that happens story-wise. So we realized we need a little bit more of a structure because we're too ADHD to do this on our own.
Right.
So Dalton's facilitated that for us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the ADHD aside, the ease that it is to get into a rabbit hole nowadays, just in general, is just so interesting. What was I doing last night? I was up to 3 o'clock in the morning last night. I'm scrolling through political TikTok because we've just had a minor political scandal here in Australia, it's hilarious. And so like scrolling through the analysis and like the shenanigans and then the memes. So like there's been one account that's just been reviewing the memes about this political scandal because it's in the end it's funny, it's pretty harmless for the way the political scandals go, and it's just sitting there going, wow, this is hilarious, you know, the memes that have been created and like Australians just collectively getting on the bit, but you know that kept me up till 3 a.m. in the morning. You know,
no, it's so funny how like we have all the information in the world in the palm of our hands, and I'll just be up until 3 doing things like looking up, do cream savers still exist, or how do cats fuck, or something. Like it's just if you look,
second one seems pretty easy. Listen,
that
the
was
cat
about
penis,
not entertainment, science. That's what it was. It was research and it was science. And Google
these
cat
are real
dicks.
things in your search history. I bet
They
we can pull
absolutely
it
are.
up right
Cat dicks
now.
have little spines on them, and it's fucking crazy. And this is what nature does to us. So now I know that, and you don't.
And do
Okay.
cream savers exist?
Actually, yeah.
Oh,
Order them on
wonderful.
Amazon right now. They're
Like
not
the blueberry
advertising well.
kind.
Clearly, we all have to Google it. But order a cream saver. They're delicious.
Maybe
If
we
you
should
remember
name our
what cream savers
podcast
are.
something to do with cream savers. No.
That would be very neat.
I don't think they'll
let's
sue
stick
us.
with
yeah.
Dungeon Radio Hour is probably pretty good. We'll settle on that.
Ah, okay. All right.
Fair enough.
Are we going through the rebrand or are we not? Let's stop halfway through.
Yeah. We changed our minds.
But yeah, it is very fascinating and I think it really goes to show that, like, you know, a D&D campaign, you know, you can spend a 14-hour sitting, you know, just continually going because, you know, you get into this rabbit hole or you get yourself so distracted that, you know, the main point of the whole campaign seems to have gone by the wayside and be the B quest instead of the A quest.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
That's what
Especially
keeps it
if
fun, though.
shopping or a market is involved. I cannot tell you how many games I've DM'd where they have spent 4 to 5 hours
Just
haggling
talking to a character.
inside a shop.
Yeah. We're haggling
Yeah.
over pretend money for a pretend item. And if you really look at it like from that perspective, it is insanity. But we just
That you
entertain
don't even
ourselves.
end up getting at the end because
No, we don't. No,
It
we
is
don't.
fun though because we do interact. Sometimes we will interact with the same character over multiple campaigns. Like there's a character named Jeff who is in our podcast. He's from like when I first DM'd, which was maybe like a few months after we started. So this is like 6 years ago.
Yeah.
So we brought Jeff back. And he's the guy who talks like this, and it's Jeff. So he's back, and so we kind of have our own personal like inside jokes that you know we're trying to share with the world.
Give us a few lines that Jeff would say right now in Problem. Let's go.
What?
Ask Jeff.
You can't just put me on the spot, man.
That's pretty good. Okay, let me give
feel
you
like
a
the spot-
prompt.
Oh,
You're
okay.
in the airport, you're looking for your wife, but also you had a big breakfast burrito earlier today and you have diarrhea, so you have to go to the bathroom too. Go.
Wife. I didn't even know I was capable of getting married. Oh, I got shit. I don't know.
Okay, so that's a little, that's kind of Jeff's personality wrapped up in a bow.
Yeah.
That was good.
Anyway. So we try to bring
Nickelback.
All right, sorry. Okay.
Nickelback.
But yeah, it is very fascinating bringing those inside jokes or, you know, those running characters and
Running
bits,
gags,
you know,
yeah.
back and you know, it's like, oh wow, I'm now sharing this bit with like the world,
Right.
and I don't know, and then it's the decision of like what bits do you share and which bits
Right.
don't you share, and it's like because we're on the internet and everything
Right.
is public, you're like, what am I sharing and what am I not?
And we
you
can
know?
also do that with real life things, like because we've had such a
Yeah.
long friendship. Like one fun fact about Mike is that he gags and throws up so easily. I
So
think everyone
easily.
on Content and Capable should know that Mike
It's a fun
throws
fact
up
about
easily.
me.
So we,
I have friends who do that too.
Yeah, just-
like it's weird.
I've seen
yeah.
him laugh so hard he vomited, and then his dog ate it.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
a real thing that happened in my
This
life.
is sober, by the way, 100% sober.
No, I was completely
At
sober.
like 10 in the morning, but
I laughed, the laugh turned into a cough, the cough turned into a gag, I threw up, And you just laughed at me while I was trying to
Of
clean it up and
course.
keep my dog away from it.
Of course.
Just covered my small
What
LA
other
apartment in
reaction are
vomit.
you supposed to have?
I don't know, dude. I guess that's a fair point.
My favorite.
I apologize to the listener for like the immediate divulsion to vomit stories, but like I had a friend of mine who would like vomit in the garden on the way to class, and like
Every-
year
often?
like often,
Oh,
yeah, like to
God.
the point where like we all knew, oh, why is this person like, oh, he's probably vomiting, like
What's the
that's
cause,
just like
though?
That's just
That is
normal.
not a great reputation to have.
Jesus.
No. And then the other traumatic one is that about a week ago I vomited on a train.
Oh no.
I was sick. I thought I could go into the city and just run this one meeting that like I was like, yeah, this is essential. I can turn up. My mother texts me halfway through me traveling into the city saying, do not leave the house. And I ignore it.
Jesus.
So
Mom's
on the
always
way
right,
home,
dude.
No.
I've done the meeting. I've like executed everything. I'm not feeling well, but like on the way home, I'm like trying to like hold everything in, and it doesn't work. And I'm so glad I had a plastic bag, but I did make a royal mess
Oh,
of this.
no.
And it happened to be the last day or the second last day of like our royal show, like our agricultural show, which meant that there were a lot more people on the train than normal for a Saturday afternoon.
Oh, so this was a spectacle. Well,
I
listen,
think I
guys,
saw
if
that on
anybody
the
wants to
news,
hire
national
Sam,
news.
he's a go-getter. He'll get on a train. If he's sick, he'll blow chunks everywhere to get to that meeting. Hire Sam.
That's how committed he is to the project.
And like, you know, these kinds of things are like weird facts, about us, and quite harmless stuff, but like it's then like the conversations that like I have with my siblings that like I do not need to leave the four walls of
Right.
the conversations I have
No,
with my
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think we know our limits on like what we can
Yeah.
razz each other about.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that's
yeah.
what that's
And it
also
is-
what editing is for,
Yeah.
because we can
I
make
mean,
some
yeah, that
pretty
too.
personal jokes
for
at each other.
us. Like in our group, I think that nothing's off limits, because we all know what's in our hearts, right?
It's true.
Very
It's
clearly,
true.
we've shown you a glimpse of what our friendship is like. It's a lot worse when you're actually in it. But, I mean, you do have to protect yourself these days, and I understand that. You have to decide what you're going to share with the world and what you're not, which is why we
Yeah,
have things
100%.
like Nickelback.
It's the internet, stranger danger, as we said at the top of the podcast.
For sure.
And it is one of those things where I don't know. I didn't have social media until like 17, 18. So like was very, very scared of like, oh, people knowing things that they really shouldn't know about myself and stuff like that. And in the end, I'm probably a little bit overprotective and don't share enough, so people just like aren't interested in the stuff that I have to say. And, that's totally fine. But, on the other aspect, I have a bad habit of like, when I get too comfortable, I start oversharing. And then, I'm talking about the dramas of like the roommate situation in the house I live in, or, the fact that, I vomited on a train.
See, I love that.
You've
though.
loosened
I like
up
the-
a little bit in the podcast, and I like it, Sam.
I see.
Share this stuff with the
I
world.
like that because I like the tea. Like, tell me which coworkers are fighting at your work.
Oh,
Give me the.
oh, yeah.
Andrew is so. If I want to know any
I'm a
drama
gossip
about any
queen.
classmates that we went to school with, I immediately go to him because he has the tea on everyone.
Yeah, man.
It's true.
Yeah. I have like a few people, and I ran into like an old schoolmate of mine who we were like on good terms with each other. We just like never spoke outside of school. Anyway, ran into her. She was directing a play at my old high school, and my siblings still go there, so I was watching it. And she like gave me the gossip from like all the popular kids that like I never really followed on social media, didn't feel like I need to. She's like, oh yeah, this person's having a child. These people are getting married. These people broke up. I can't believe these people are still together. Their relationship was shit the whole time in high school. And we just like went through like a list of pretty much everyone.
I love it.
I love the tea.
Yeah. And it's great. Like I fucking love the tea. But then I always then want to go and share it with like the next person. I was like, did you know?
See, so you tell them you're what did you call it? You're a
A snitch.
A snitch.
Snitch, yeah.
Snitch.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I see
Full
how this
circle.
works, and this all feeds back into the journalist thing, Sam. You just want to spill the tea on everybody, to everyone.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's
Yeah.
the whole reason I've gone into journalism. Is to
I,
spill the
res-
tea
I
on,
respect it. I
on
love
stuff
it.
that's going.
I love it.
But like, to be honest, like, part of the reason I did go into journalism was because I did love telling people about things that I'd learned, and it ended up getting into like gossip and stuff like that. But like at the same time,
It's just a side effect.
that's half of that's when you work in politics as a journalist, you get to share the gossip.
I
It's
think
great.
that, like, at its core, when you see somebody and they get comfortable with you and they do something that they think is an overshare, I just think that means that you're becoming friends. So I never judge anybody that gets really personal really quickly with me, because it's a lot more interesting than just talking about the weather or mundane things like that.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I think that's another reason why we, going back, are so successful in the banter and in the chemistry that we have together on the podcast, is because we are probably too comfortable with one another.
Oh, yeah.
And there are no boundaries.
I've seen Mike naked
And,
way
like-
too many times.
A lot.
And trust me, like 10 times would be too many, but I saw it too many.
No. It's a lot more than that. It's
Yeah.
a lot more than that. But you kind of like it, though.
100%.
Eh. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. No, you know what? That's fair. That was an honest review, and it's fair. And
Oh,
that's
my
okay.
wife's in the next room. She's used to it.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating because the closer you do get to people, the easier it is to talk about stuff, and then it's like then sharing that relationship with like, well, and you see it with like social media influencers, like, oh look, here's my new boyfriend, and then 3 months later you realize they broke it up, and this person's like, oh, that person was a terrible human being, and it's like, oh, like, you shared them on the internet, you felt comfortable enough, and then shit hit the fan. Like, what happened here?
Yeah.
Because
I-
everyone's
you know,
invested at that point, they want to know.
It's true. But I think like the parasocial relationship, as people call it now, the relationship with your fans, I feel
Yeah.
like the good fans, and I think this is really most fans, because I like to give humanity the benefit of a doubt, they understand that if you overshare some things that they may seem too personal, they may seem untoward, you're just going in unfiltered because you think of your fan as a friend. And that's how I kind of like to think of our fan base, as small as it is now. We're just starting out. But like, I think of them all as, friends, And that's what friends do. Sometimes they overshare. They get really personal. And I think most people appreciate that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like it is a core tenet to like our humanity is sharing like our our experiences together, and working through things. None of us are perfect,
Right.
and we continue to make so many mistakes. I continue to always manage to say the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Ditto.
But, it's like at the same time, that is what makes us human and what makes us way more interesting to listen and to talk to, and I think that's also like part of the beauty of D&D, where there are mistakes that are made, there is bullshit that goes on, there is shenanigans that just continue, and you go, is this going to end? Probably not. Time to
You've listened to the podcast, I see. It does continue. It continues too long sometimes.
But it really goes to show how humanizing D&D is, and I think the rise in D&D, especially through the pandemic, was really a result of wanting that human interaction in a relatively structured format, but in a way that is just engaging, and it reflects who we are as human beings.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people are intimidated by the idea of Dungeons and Dragons. They've heard of it. They think it's this super nerdy thing. They think it's this complicated. They know it has this rule book and all these rules and all these dice. It seems like a lot.
Yeah.
And I think one of my goals in the podcast is to sort of be the gateway drug into D&D and show like, listen to an episode. This is all D&D is. We're just running around. The DM is telling us what succeeds and what fails, and we roll the dice to find that out. And that's it. That's
I
really
mean, at the
all
end of the
you
day,
need
it's
to know
really just that
at
simple.
first.
That's
Yeah.
it. You tell me what you want to do. I make you roll for it, and I say yes or no.
You could do anything you want.
Everything else is
Anything.
just a group storytelling.
Right.
I think that you'd
Yeah.
be really good at giving a crash course on D&D, Andrew, because you have a way of just putting things really succinctly so everybody can understand what you're talking about.
Thank you. Jesus.
Yeah, man. That's
That's
a
a
genuine
nice- that's
compliment for me. It's a rare
That
thing.
was really genuine. I'm glad we're recording
I love
this.
you,
I'm gonna change that to my alarm so I hear that first thing in the morning. You talk so succinctly.
Just so
you
nice.
talk
Here we
so
come.
succinctly. Wake up.
Some nice affirmations for Mike to start your day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Install it in like your meditation app.
Yeah, there we
and
go.
Just like
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think if
Yeah.
people just listen to it, realize they're having fun, like this isn't like D&D light. We're actually playing it and we know the rules.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
We don't get too
Speaking-
rule heavy. Oh, go ahead, Sam. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, speaking of rules, I know that there was the announcement recently of the modifications that have been made in the rules. I'm not across it. I know that some people are like upset. Some people are like, it doesn't change anything, and some people are like, we've been waiting for this for a little while now. I don't know. Have you guys read and heard Dalton's disappeared? I'm like worried mildly.
No, it's okay. He has cats and stuff. It's probably just him checking on those.
With most editions that have come out, it's received some sort of like pushback at first, but eventually the rules
Yeah.
sink in. A lot of people felt like D&D 5 was sort of like the end all be all. But then they felt like that about 2, and so 3 and 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
I
two
haven't read
has
up a lot
problems.
about it. Yeah.
But I mean, 5th edition, that's how they marketed it. Wizards of the Coast were like, this is it. We're going to stick with this. And really, they kind of are. It's really just them changing a few things
Right.
to be more
Well, they're
inclusive.
trying to simplify some things too, and like Mike said,
sure.
make things more inclusive. And I think that's another reason why they're not going straight up with like, okay, this is the 6th edition. It's just 5.5.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what I was going to say. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I think
I
it is like a really interesting, because I know that there's definitely been arguments and discussions.
Right.
Because I don't know whether nerdy people can have arguments or discussions.
But the-
Oh, nerdy
I think
people
it's
argue
the same.
probably
we
the
argue.
most, Sam.
Listen to the podcast.
Oh
They
yeah,
argue.
no, but it's like they're one and the same thing. Like a discussion, it just ends up being an argument.
Right,
yeah.
Like, let's-
I think
but you know,
the good part about the rules, though, is like house rules overrides everything.
Absolutely.
yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
like
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want.
But, like,
the focus
yeah.
is on just having fun. So if it breaks a rule, it doesn't matter. You know.
yeah, and I think that is a very interesting way to approach, how things work. And what I also find very fascinating is that, like, people were reflecting on the different editions of Dungeons and Dragons and talking about how, how accessible was it for new players and inexperienced players, and what are the impacts of the changes now? Are they going to make it more or less accessible? And
Yeah.
obviously, we can only really find out the more we play it. But, understanding how this all works and, adding... This will add depth, of course, but will it add depth in the way that the community wants? And, a whole bunch of other things. And, like, the whole responsible managing of a fandom, I think it's a very fascinating thing that D&D hasn't really had to reckon with since it grew so much over the last few years.
It's true. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I guess it just remains to be seen. Time will tell. But I think that these changes, really, the rules are staying pretty consistent to their core. I think the changes are improvements. That's how I view them. And I don't think it'll really affect our gameplay at all. We adhere to the rules for the most part, unless, of course, Dalton enforces the rule of cool. If we're doing something a little rule breaking, for the sake of entertainment, he lets some things slide. But yeah, I mean, I think that the barrier to entry really is low in this age of, people can just go to a Reddit forum and look at just watered down, distilled rules so they can just, read those and adhere to those, jump in a game. You can jump in a game with anybody across the world now. There are whole websites dedicated to it.
There's D&D and a lot of different popular things, like you mentioned Stranger Things. I mean, episode of Community. There's a Dungeons and Dragons movie that's coming out, I think, this year with Chris Pine. and it looks fucking hilarious. It's like it's sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy medieval, and that's almost. I think that's how we sort of treat our games in a way. That sort of ragtag, comedic adventure story. So I think that'll bring even more people into it.
Yeah, with D&D breaking into the mainstream, I think we'll also, as you said, Stranger Things, especially recently, but, my first exposure of it in mainstream pop culture was definitely Community. And, just
Great
like
show.
the chaos that is, Community and the shenanigans that do go on. But, like, knowing that, like, D&D still works when, like, shit hits the fan like it does in Community. And, be just like was like, oh, this is something that is just accessible and that I can enjoy and I don't have to worry about too much.
It's fun.
Yeah, 100%.
For us, like, and I think this kind of applies to anybody who jumps in. One of the things that makes D&D so appealing on a mass scale is just jumping into the body of a character that's maybe not like you. And you just wearing their skin for a little bit and just playing pretend. For us, it's just another avenue of performance. We're all actors. I do comedy and stuff, and I think that is what's so fun about it is you can just let loose and play with your friends. And it's really good for people who are missing that performance aspect in their lives, just to inject that back in,
Mike loves to wear
100%.
people's skin.
I do.
Something you should know about him.
I have a closet full of really moist skin right now that I'm just ready to strap on.
Nope.
You like it?
Nope.
It just reminds me of, there's like this scene in the Artemis Fowl books where like they take like a troll's recently molted skin and wear it to like hide themselves. And it's just like this, the way it's described is like this most gruesome and, just like not something that you really want to be interacting with. And
It's a children's book. You guys should read it.
It sounds like a children's book.
Yeah.
Artemis Fowl is such a great series.
Yeah, man.
And very much like, this is what high fantasy can be like, which I think is a very fascinating, and I could rant about it.
Right. And I think, speaking of fantasy, I think there's in addition to D&D being everywhere, I think there's sort of a resurgence in medieval fantasy things. Like, I mean, you've got Game of Thrones, you've got House of the Dragon now, you've got Lord of the Rings rebooting. I mean, all the Dungeons and Dragons movie, all these things that are sort of popping back up. It seemed like there was a time there where medieval stuff really wasn't around as much as like sci-fi.
I think it even goes past medieval. I think there's just been a resurgence within the last few years of just nerd culture in general.
Yes.
That it used to be so taboo. It used to be one of those things, oh, if you're a nerd, oh, if you're like you like geeky things, don't say it out loud. Keep that to yourself. Keep it in an office closed off from the rest of the house.
Right.
Well, on that lovely, beautiful note, thank you guys so much for coming on Content and Capable. I have not laughed this much in a podcast recording in a long time. It's been amazing.
Perfect.
Oh, good.
It's been so fun, Sam.
Boys. Good job.
Yeah.
Had Alyssa been here, it would have been much more boring than what it actually was.
Oh my
Right.
goodness. I'm going to tell her that when she gets home. She's going to be
I'm
so
going to tell
mad
her
at
that
you.
when she listens to this podcast.
She's going to listen to it, so...
Lisa's going to listen to this and go, why the fuck did
No
I
one
leave the
tell her.
voice?
Just
Oh
wait
my
till she
God.
hears it, and then she'll say
See, that's the thing. It was a bad
Hi,
idea for her
Alyssa.
to not be here because she usually keeps us in check.
We need some
That's true.
feminine energy and some estrogen to level us out, or else we do what we just did for the last hour and a half. It wasn't pretty. I apologize to your fans.
We made a mess on the floor, and that's the podcast.
beautiful, beautiful vomit mess on the bus. Or the
Vomit on the bus. That's our metaphor for life.
The bus is worse because
Yes,
it's
that's true.
smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, it's like where you don't want to see vomit, but where you expect to see vomit. You know what I mean?
That's true, too.
100%. Bus drivers drive like maniacs. We talk about almost dying on the buses on a daily basis at university. We've got like a shuttle between the two campuses, and the bus drivers drive like, what's that movie? Is it Speed? Where like they can't
yes.
go, under 50
Don't go
miles
below
an hour.
50, yeah.
Yeah.
My
what
bus
a
driver
film.
was like the bus driver in Speed, but it was like you have to hit every curb or everybody dies, and he made sure everybody stayed alive. The special kids in the
yeah,
front did not like that, but that's what happened. That's what happened.
My school bus driver was a bit of a creep, and every now and then we see him and recognize him. We go, "Oh, look, it's our bus driver. We hated this guy," and then move on with our lives, or maybe tell the awkward time, a couple of weird stories. It's very strange.
Everyone knows a weird bus driver.
Yes,
true,
always.
though.
Bus drivers have like some of the weirdest stories.
If you're listening to this and you're a bus driver, we applaud the work that you do, but just know you have a reputation.
It's true.
Yes,
It's your fault.
You could be like the head of like a crime syndicate, and I wouldn't be surprised.
I want to meet this bus driver now. He sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
Get him on the
Sounds
phone.
like an action movie. The Bus Driver.
Yeah, definitely.
Sylvester Stallone.
All right, Sam's trying to wrap up. Jesus, Andrew.
No. It just keeps on going, and it's great.
We will make this the first 2-hour episode.
I'm like, did the bit end? No, the bit hasn't ended yet.
If you have to
and it
ask
won't.
yourself, did the bit end? The answer is always no.
No, it's
The answer is always
going.
Nickelback.
Awesome. Where can people find you guys on the internet?
Everywhere. No, so
Everywhere.
Dungeon Radio Hour, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, all that good stuff. You can follow our Instagram at Dungeon Radio Hour, which also has a link tree to the rest of our social media. We're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, we have a Patreon, we're on Discord. Am I forgetting anything, boys? Does that cover all of them?
I'll throw in some personal plugs since I'm a part of it, and we have an opportunity to promote ourselves. M_J_Adair on Instagram. There's not much. I will be posting content in the future. Don't subscribe right away because you'll be disappointed.
Come look at these
Mike
pictures
wants you
of
to
my
go
wife.
Follow his social media that has absolutely nothing.
Okay, but there will be stuff. And Michael
To be fair, you're
Adair.me.
married to Alyssa, so you guys kind of have some cool dual
true.
content together.
Yeah, that's true. And michaeladair.me, that's where I post my scripts and, things that I'm working on screenwriting-wise and acting-wise.
Amazing.
Sam, thank you for having us. We
Yes,
apologize
that's
for
okay.
everything.
I have one more question. So where has there been anything that you've been reading, watching, playing, consuming, any media that you wanted to plug?
Oh,
Good question.
Other than our podcast?
Yeah.
No, things that you actually read and enjoy and,
You're
other
right.
people's work, Dalton.
I don't enjoy our podcast. That's right.
I genuinely enjoyed House of the Dragon premiere. I had very, very low expectations, but I did enjoy that. I think it was a pretty big opening, so
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, but I know that everyone I've spoken to has been gushing about it.
Yeah.
I recently watched The Sandman, which just came out with a bonus episode that was
yeah.
really good, actually. Neil Gaiman's The Sandman. That one was in production hell for
How was that?
ever.
The whole show.
Oh, man. Oh, dude, amazing. The best thing that
nothing but good
Netflix...
things about it. Yeah, I've heard nothing
Cool.
but good things.
Best thing
Cool,
Netflix
cool.
has ever made. Alyssa asked me to plug the
Ooh,
Atlas 6
man.
as well. She's not here. She shouldn't get a plug, but I'll plug it. The Atlas 6, it's she calls it Harry Potter for adults. It's
You
a
have
very
to
good
say it
book
like
series.
Love
Alyssa.
it.
You have to say it like Alyssa.
Where's my glasses? Hold on.
We're on a podcast.
The Atlas
podcast.
6.
No one's gonna-
I just changed my voice so it sounds like I have got the Atlas 6. It's a really good book.
Is she a 1930s prospector?
Once Alyssa
I'm not
hears this,
good at
you're gonna have to
impressions. I
sleep
do
on the couch.
impressions. I didn't say they were good.
Yeah.
So you can ask the boys. I'm not a big reader, so
I'm
that's
not
why I've
either.
been listening to this. That's why I've been listening to this on an audio.
We know that from your accent, Dalton. We can tell that you don't
Thank you,
read.
appreciate that. But the Tarot Sequence is a new book series that my fiance Cody actually got me hooked onto, and he's actually friends with the author. They have 3 books out right now: The Last Son, The Hanged Man, and The Hourglass Throne. And I actually have a little excerpt from the author about the series that I'm going to read. I know, fancy, right? The Tarot Sequence reimagines a modern-day world with real Atlantis. It mixes fantasy and sci-fi elements along with humor, found family, and a deep immersive world building, along with an abundant and plentiful LGBTQ plus representation. If you're a big fan of any like Harry Potter, the Dresden Files, Artemis Fowl, stuff like that, check these books out because they're really great. That sounded disingenuous, but go read them. They're good.
No, that's why he's the host, guys. He read that in one take. He didn't even stumble over the words.
Yes. If I was like, I'm always on the lookout for like radio voices. I'm like, whoo, radio voice. Don't even trip over your own words. That's just me all the time. My tongue is like a horse with 4 left legs, and just it barrels through, what I'm trying to say for like a hot second every now and then. Well, you can find me at sam.the.journalist on Instagram and on TikTok, and at samobjournalist on Twitter. And I make sure you check out the podcast at Content the Letter N Capable as well on Instagram and on Twitter. This week I'm going to plug the Miss Marvel, which is the Disney Plus series that follows. I'm not even going to try to name characters because all names escape my head all the time. But like it is Miss Marvel is a really lovely show. I know I've spoken about it on the podcast before. It's just really fascinating the way it incorporates parts of history with a really interesting modern plot line that seems to handle generational trauma much better than Encanto did. So if you want better generational trauma, that's probably the show to watch.
And we do.
Generational trauma!
Sign me up.
Give it up for that.
Definitely. I definitely highly suggest you go check it out. It is a lot of fun. Well, thank you, Michael, Andrew, and Dalton, so much for coming on the podcast. I cannot wait to hear the amazing adventures you guys get up to on Dungeon Radio Hour.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. We appreciate it. This has been a blast.
Amazing. Thank you for listening to Content and Capable. You can follow the podcast socials at Content the Letter N Capable on Instagram and Twitter. You can send an email to contentandcapablepod@gmail.com. Please give us a review on iTunes or Spotify to help others know that you love this podcast. The art was done by Opia. You can follow them at opia_art_. Opia is spelled O-P-I-A. Feel free to message them about making art for your project. Our music was written, recorded, and edited by Isabel Strauss-Riggs. You can find Izzy at Kane_I. That's I is in the body part. On Instagram and Twitter, and on YouTube at KaneI with no spaces. Feel free to message her about making music for your project or editing your podcast.
Do you ever watch something?
Or read something.
Or play something?
With your kid?
Or with your mom?
And then argue about it incessantly afterwards?
Well, how about you listen to us do that for you?
Check out our podcast, Fandom's Gone Wrong.
An adult media podcast coming out every other Tuesday.
On the Movie Night Crew Network.
Content and Capable is a podcast all about answering the question, how do you adult? Don't forget to rate and review, and I will see you next Monday for another episode.
Deus Ex Media.
Trusting a white man with a beat. No. It's not going to work out.
I play music and I still don't get it right.
Well, you're better than us. We can tell already.